So here we go, everybody. Welcome to another video. And the January transfer window is now closed. Business is done and dusted for Town and all the other clubs around the country. I'm joined by good old Stuart Watson to get the verdict on Town's window as a whole. Stu, it was a very quiet deadline day to what we've been used to the last few years under the game changer of Mark Ashton's era. How was it for you yesterday?
Nice and calm and relaxed. It was good. It was the quiet deadline days of the past have been quite frustrating because Ipswich we have wanted Ipswich to sign players, but it hasn't happened, and that sort of quiet deadline day expected headline in the morning wasn't necessarily met with much joy. But on this occasion, I think everyone was quite calm and laid back about that because Ipswich had done some really good business in January and they did it early as well. So good window, I think.
Yeah, of course, all Town fans and just general fans are just sometimes a little bit, they just want that extra, don't they? They want one more just on deadline day. It's always that excitement because a lot of clubs in League One they bought a lot of players in this on deadline day, leaving their business a bit late. But Town got it done early, Stu. Four signings in this window. Masao Luongo on a free transfer. George Hurst on loan from Leicester. A player that Town have been chasing for a while, of course. Nathan Broadhead from Everton. Bit of dough on him, of course, having a loan spell at Wigan in the Championship, but then he signed permanently. Then Harry Clark from Arsenal. Stu, your verdict on those four signings?
Yeah, I mean the first thing I would say is getting them done early. Do not underestimate that. I remember Kieran McKenna talking back in December saying we want to do it early. Everyone wants to do it early. I've heard every manager at Ipswich Town over the years say we'd like to do it early, and rarely it happens because if you give anybody a deadline in life, naturally things tend to go up to that deadline. So McKenna had talked about how the World Cup and the winter break had sort of affected things as well, and Premier League clubs had maybe the top end of the chain gets held back a little bit, and that has an effect. So for Ipswich to do their business, all of it by January 19th in the end, is not to be underestimated. So that's a major box ticked. In terms of the players that have come in, I think they've addressed all the areas of the squad that needed looking at. Each one of them has been brought in for a reason. Each one of them adds something different to the squad. Each one of them will hopefully raise the levels of the players around them as well in terms of competition for direct places. So yeah, a really good window, I think. Harry Clark for me was the cherry on the cake. After Hurst, Broadhead, and Luongo had come in, we were thinking, do they need anything else? Squad's looking pretty good. And the feeling at the time was if they can be opportunistic and the right player comes along and they can do something, then they will. And I think Harry Clark is that player because he's not just the qualities he's going to bring as a player on the pitch. And we've had a little glimpse of that on his debut, impressive debut against Morecambe, passion, drive, that feeling that he's got for his hometown club. But yeah, off the pitch as well, I think he's gonna, everything that comes with him as an Ipswich-born lad is gonna add a little something as well. So yeah, really pleased with what they've done, Ross.
Yeah, indeed, the sexy stuff. Let's talk about the outs then, Stu. There was a few changes on deadline day in terms of Corian Daba was recalled from League One strugglers Burton, but is now at 17th place Fleetwood. So nice little spell there. And Fleetwood have made some decent signings in this window under Scott Brown. Ghassan Hadmi, I think, was always going to be the big talking point Stu in this window because it was likely he wasn't going to get much game time, but he's back at Burton, the club he signed for Town on deadline day in August. Is now there on deadline day in January. That's a good move for Ghassan, of course.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. When I heard sort of earlier in the window the Burton manager saying that financially it might not be viable, I was thinking, come on, this is sensible for all parties for him to go and get some game time. And on the face of it, it looks like a disastrous signing. He's going back from whence he came, and other players have come in his position. Let's not forget he had a pretty rough start with that foot fracture that set him back. He was always going to be a bit of a raw project striker. That's not to say that he's not got a future at Ipswich Town, but for the short term now, with Hurst and Ladapo in the building, Tyrese John Jules, let's not forget, hopefully be back fit towards the end of February, I think it makes a lot of sense for him to go back to Burton, get himself going with some game time, and and then see where he's at in the summer, I think.
Indeed, and let's mention some other players who have been recalled and gone to another loan spell. Of course, Matt Penny is now at Charlton after his impressive, 6 months at Motherwell. I think Motherwell fans were hoping they'll sign him permanently, but he's gone to Charlton in League One. Tete Yangi, I think that's how you say it. Of course, had a great spell in Finland, but now has joined promotion hopefuls in League Two at Northampton. So a great move for him. Has also signed a new deal at the club. And then also Edwin Abaje has joined National League side Yeovil for his first loan spell. So a good little move there. But let's talk about the squad rules then, Stu. Of course, the 22-man squad rules. Town at the start or at the end of the summer window, it was 20-man. Now, of course, it's gone to 22. There's always that talk about players maybe having to be deregistered, but now because Gassan's gone to Burton, it's now the perfect 22-man mark.
That's right, yeah. So you have to register at the end of each transfer window. You have to register a 22-man senior squad with the EFL. That doesn't include any goalkeepers, and that doesn't include anyone who's under the age of 21 at the start of the calendar year in which the season started. So, as you say, at the end of the summer window, Ipswich only had to register 20 players because they had various people like Cameron Humphreys and others and that didn't count. So they had a little bit of wriggle room going into January. They had 2 spots to play with. They've signed 4 players. Harry Clark doesn't count because of his age. So 3 players took them up to 23. Take Gassan Ahadmi off. That's the perfect 22. So, it was looking like Dominic Ball was going to be deregistered. He looks like he's set to be out for the season, but they may as well keep him registered now. And who knows, maybe he can get himself back ready in time for the last game or two, potentially. Certainly Panucci Kamara, I think, is in that boat. We'll have to see sort of what's riding on those final games as to whether Ipswich can give 1 or 2 of them some minutes at the end of the season.
Indeed, and as you mentioned as well, of course, very good squad depth. I think every position we've got a good old backup, which is good to see. There was always that talk, maybe loan out Carl Edwards or even Karen Humphreys got a few mentions from some fans. But I think that was good that we sort of kept hold of him. Of course, Carl Edwards had a few interests, of course, on deadline day and a day before. But I think it was a good thing that Town kept him here, and it's just good, just good options.
Good depth, yeah. I think Kieran McKenna made it pretty clear that he wasn't keen to let anybody that he saw as a first-team player leave. He's quite happy to carry a big squad for these final few months of the season because, as we've already seen around November, December time, the picture can change very quickly, and you can get a load of injuries in one position, and all of a sudden feel very thin. And at the moment, it feels like a very bloated squad, and McKenna's going to be having to leave out 6-7 players from his matchday squad, which is going to test his man management skills. But I'm sure there will be some more injuries and suspensions to come. So, there was interest in Kyle Edwards. Hull City in the Championship, Swansea, I believe, had a little inquiry about him as well at one stage. But no, Ipswich have decided to keep him and make sure that they've got plenty of options up their sleeve. I make it 23 fit outfield first team players at the moment, and then chuck John Jules in there towards the end of February. That's 24 players to pick for what we're talking. We're talking 17 spots in a match day squad, 16 spots minus 2 goalkeepers. Sorry, so plenty of options there, as you say. 2 players of real quality for every position, if not more so now.
Indeed. And the word I was trying to think of was competition. I just had a bit of a mind fart when I was said options, but I meant competition. And I think this is what this squad's all about. And
you're right. I mean, hopefully, like Harry Clark is going to, it's not just what they're going to bring to the team, but Harry Clark pushes Janoy Donassian on. George Hurst to hopefully, unlock something else in Freddie Ladapo. Likewise with Broadhead and the likes of Marcus Harness as well. So it's not just about what they're going to bring to the team. It's going to be hopefully what they do to sort of push others on as well. So healthy competition for places.
Indeed. And to end this video, Stu, really just to look at the squad as a whole, because this team, is a lot of transfer fees have been involved, a lot of experience in the Championship on their CVs. They've just got to go and deliver now, aren't they, Stu? This is the year, hopefully, Town get out of League One.
I think so, yeah. Mark Ashton came on our podcast back in November, December time and said, we will leave no stone unturned in this January transfer window. We do not want to be looking back at the end of this season with any kind of what ifs. I know people reference the 2014-15 season where Ipswich failed to really strengthen from a position of strength and faded away and weren't able to go up that year. Ashton has delivered on his promise, and I'm sure with a lot of help from various other people behind the scenes at Ipswich Town, has delivered for Kieran McKenna. Now it's up to those players to go and deliver. Like, we've just gone through that squad. We've looked at, as you say, I mean, by my reckoning, that's the best part of £10 million on transfer fees across this squad. 1,500 or so Championship appearances between them. Granted, a big chunk of those goes to Richard Keogh. Loads of promotions across various players' CVs as well. So, yeah, as much as if Ipswich didn't make it this year in terms of going up, the message would be we go again, keep calm and carry on. But I'm telling you, this club has a healthy impatience to get promoted, and they're certainly going for it this season. So hopefully they can go and deliver now.
Indeed, my friend, indeed. Well, thanks for joining me, Stu. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Let us know in the comments down below your thoughts on the January transfer window as a whole. Blues got their business done early doors, and we shall see how they do for the rest of the season. Can they deliver? We shall wait and see. Bye-bye for now.